Thish Gaming here with the second video in my Classic Plus series, this time going over zone updates for Kalimdor. I must say at first that I am a Horde player, and I am not familiar with the Alliance leveling situation, especially on Kalimdor. So there are times where I make notes, and I'd love to hear your feedback on it. So what do I mean by, in general, by this? And that is that a visual update is not a complete rework. It's not the Cataclysm. It's a fresh coat of paint and an update to match the current level of Blizzard's Arcane, which we can all agree is very good. And having these updated zones is actually more authentic, since the biggest missing factor of Classic is the feeling of discovery. A world that's already known and seen 1,000 times won't give you the same feeling that you had logging in to Classic for the first time, or Vanilla in this case, and discovering. So mixing some things up, adding new quests, changing the zones visually, and maybe here or there changing some landmarks can go a long way to making it feel fresh and interesting. That being said, most zones don't need any landmark changes, they don't need quest changes, and new quests shouldn't be added for leveling considerations, except secondarily. It should be story, bringing people into the world, into the story, into the characters. There's a ton of underexplored history, plot lines, characters that could really make for a much more engaging experience. So let's get started. First off, Ashenvale. The zone is fine for the most part. I think the Twilight area around BFD could be expanded, and the Eastern Ashenvale quest with the demons and the Warsong Lumber Camp also could be expanded. But otherwise, not much you can. This is a good zone, and it's mostly Alliance, and so I want to hear their feedback. Ajara, one of the larger revamps. I think everyone knows that this zone is unfinished, and I would be adding a Timbermaw dungeon and expanding their faction area, adding points of interest around the Lighthouse, Xylem's Tower, Lord Akarak's domain, and expanding the Horde and Alliance encampments to have, more to do, more quests, even if it's just simple like go kill 10 deer. Going and killing 10 deer, decent quest. It gets you into the zone, has it more populated, and then you can sprinkle in some more story related stuff along the edges. The Barrens, very much wouldn't change the Barrens, other than to give it a visual update, especially around the pools, the Quillbill area, and the Wailing Caverns area. I think those could all be updated to better reflect what they were going for with the verdant overgrowth kind of thing. And then Ratchet. I think all the Goblin areas could probably use an update. Ratchet is one of the better ones, but it could just be made more goblin-y, and I think that would be a fine update. And then finally, the Silithid area could be made more Silithid. It's kind of boring, just a bunch of little spiders sticking out of the ground. It could be made more intimidating, especially first time running there as a low-level character. Like, oh my god, what's this? This is a good time as any. Now we're at Durotar. So Durotar, Darkshell, Teldrassil, Mulgore. I don't know enough about the Alliance starting zones to make a comment on them, and really for the Horde starting zones, they're great. Fantastic, even. If you add any quests, then it should all be story related. Introduce people to the characters, to the plot lines that they'll be following as they level. Outside of that, visual improvements only for these zones. Dustwallow Marsh, Mudsprocket was a great addition. I'd be interested to hear what could be changed with Theramore to make it more interesting, but for the most part, this is a good zone. Feralis. So there's two dead zones in Feralis, which is the Lower Wilds and the Twin Colossals. Those could be expanded. The Isle of Dread. I don't know if Alliance has anything, but Horde has no reason to go here other than Kamirok chops, which people don't farm that much of anyways. And the Feathermoon Stronghold, I don't know anything about. I think Dire Maul could be changed to be a bit more interesting. If it wasn't elites in there, in that main area, because who cares if there's elites in there? You could have some quests like, being combatants in the arena and, getting introduced to some of the lore characters that you fight in the dungeons, like the King and Cho'Gall, and not Cho'Gall, but whoever it is. Cho'Rush, the Observer. You could get introduced to them before you kill them in their instance, which would be good. Fellwood, another large change. I would add Shadowhold as a full instance, and its portal would be behind that warlock you kill as part of the quest, but killing him for the quest would let you skip to the entrance instance. Probably through the corrupted moonwell outside. Yeah, add like a crystal or something in it that you're now attuned to the fell energies and you can port right into the dungeon. That would be pretty good. I think Timbermaw Hold really could use some expanding as far as how it works. It's kind of barren in there. There's like 7 furbolgs in the main area. It could be a bit larger, a bit more multi-layered of, this is the last holdout of the furbolgs, and you can, see little furbolgs or whatever. Just in general, that could be a much more interesting quest hub and delve more into their story. And then you could still, feel better about being exalted with them. Silithus. I think Silithus, you're going to have to revamp the war effort and rep item farm just to keep it mysterious, to keep that people guessing. I think this zone should go through more phases. There's currently 2 phases. There's pre-AQ and AQ opening. And I think that you could have at the start, you could have everyone focused around this top area in Stag Hum. Maybe have a flight point for Horde and Alliance here. And it's just focused around helping the Cenarian hold clear out the Cenarian clear out the Cenarian hold and actually build up this area. So you're doing quests for, killing things for lumber or whatever, killing bugs in here to clear it out. I don't think it should be a time thing or like a war effort type deal. I think it's just that the quests should all focus initially around getting them here, and then they establish themselves maybe around like phase 3, like not a fair amount before the Silithid invasion, and then you have the normal Cenarian hold quests, and then you can start, getting deeper into Silithus. Stone Talon, I wouldn't change Stone Talon much at all. I think Alliance maybe have some changes they'd like, but the only thing I can think of is that the elite area in the north is kind of underwhelming. It doesn't give anything good, so it should either be easier or give something better. I'd lean towards making it hard and wanting to take a 5-man group up there to get some cool blue as you're robbing the barrow. Daenerys, another massive change. So I think Gadgetzan should be expanded into the largest neutral city. It should be a hub of goblin activity. It is the, their after Booty Bay. Booty Bay is pretty large, but Gadgetzan is where, deals are made. There's goblin power struggles, shakedowns. The fighting pits are expanded into an actual, quest important area. And I think this would give, kind of this big neutral city would give Alliance a place they could be on southern Kalimdor. Right now they're just kind of stuck with, like Feathermoon Stronghold or, Teldrassil in order to get the Silithus, so I think this would be an improvement. And as part of this, I would actually add another boat to Steamweedle. So there'd be a boat from Steamweedle to Booty Bay, another dock in Booty Bay, and this would provide a quick southern Eastern Kingdom to southern Kalimdor boat for both Horde and Alliance. And generally that would be what I would see here. I think Oldham could have more than one quest related to it, but I wouldn't expand this into an instance, at least not now. Thousand Needles. I wouldn't change much about Thousand Needles other than to ask what Alliance experience is. I think they have quest givers in the north. I think RFD and Scourge could be expanded with the Grim Totems, and Shimmering Flats is already great. This is great. If they change nothing, it's great. But if they add more stuff like being able to, say, gamble on the races or that sort of thing, I think that it could be made even better. Ungoro. Ungoro is still awesome zone. I would add a Ravasaur trainer, like the cat one for Alliance and Winterspring, and I would add a new instance in the Slithering Scar. So this would be probably like a 5-10 man instance, specifically before the AQ War first starts, but it should be the big tie-in story instance for the whole AQ. So there's a lot of lore behind, the Scepter of the Shifting Sands, War of the Shifting Sands, that you just don't engage with, and I think that having interactions with Desolace, I think is his name, and the other elements of the Bronze Dragonflight versus the Silithids would be great. I think getting that introduction, getting people into it and hyped would be a really good instance. Winter Spring. So I think that Winter Spring is, it's good. I think the Frostwhisper Gorge Demon area in the south, it doesn't show up on maps very well. Shouldn't be elite. Should be like levels 61, 62. Like dangerous mobs, they have strong abilities and such, but you can have the elites be scattered throughout or deeper within. It'll be the path to Hyjal, which I'll cover later. And then lastly, I just think more to do with the Dead Highborn and their story, and how that ties into Hyjal and the Blue Dragonflight. There isn't any reason to go there outside of Oniatune for Horde, so should be more stuff to do with the Blue Dragonflight. Introduce them, get people engaged in their story a little bit. And then Everlook, I think just a slight revamp. Everlook's, I think, one of the better goblin cities. So, does it need to be changed? Maybe not. It's just an outpost. And lastly, the new zone, Hyjal. Hyjal should be 59 to 61. This isn't saying the level cap's going up. This is just saying that the mobs are level 61, aka they're harder to hit, they dodge and parry more, they're harder to kill, that sort of thing. Have this be a high level herb and ore zone. This means that there are more zones for the higher player density to get, say, Black Lotus, to get Rich Thorium. Have the quests in here tie in with the Twilight Hammer, with the Burning Legion, with the stories from the RTS, and eventually I would add an instance in here, potentially another teaser for Cthulhu, with the Twilight Hammer trying to gather power in order to awaken him or summon him in some manner. You could also have a new world boss. This would be a great zone for a new world boss around Nordrassil. So basically, that covers what I would want out of the zones. Like I said, the goal is not to completely change the zones, but to have them be what the classic WoW team would have done if they had modern technology, art team experience, and they knew how powerful modern computers would be. By visually updating and expanding these and adding new storylines, I think it actually is better at capturing the feeling of first entering the world of Azeroth and exploring this world. Just releasing the same content over won't get you the same feeling, because we've changed. We know what's happening, and if the whole world is known, then it isn't new, and that means it can't be like the original. So, in addendum, if you like this, leave a comment. I'm not going to ask you to like or subscribe, but I'm always interested in responding to comments and discussing this kind of thing. So anyways, till next time, bye.